So our intruder, it says, left my property at 8:32 a.m. and he's over by the elementary school now. It says Stillwater Wildlife Refuge Administration in Numa Elementary School. Now he's back over at my place. To bug me. He couldn't pick up a signal on me because my phone was put away in a Faraday cage. Which I'm about to put it right back in so he's going to lose the signal again. Now he's back over the hill on my property, casting his wide net of who knows what the hell it is. Nosiness. Trying to see what I'm doing, what I'm saying, whatever. Yeah, I see your ass. Don't be inching your way over here closer to my place. Now, my property is 30 acres. The street is way down here. My driveway is approximately 1/8 of a mile. Now he's off in front of my trailer. I should be able to look out the window and see. So just to give you an idea of how far trespassing on my property, how invasive all this BS is. This is over 760. When you come to my trailer, you're over 760 feet onto my property. And even though I'm Jewish, it's Christmas Eve. Don't you take a day off with your dumb shit? Look at this crap. Dude, you really need to get a freaking life. So now he's halfway between the property line and my trailer. The front section of our property is 660 feet. It was a 40-acre piece of property, and 10 acres was sold to the neighbors, who their address now is 1501 Harmon Road. And that's what that line is, this little square cutout of the property. So our property is at L shape, or V, depending on which direction you're looking at it from. It was a 40-acre block, and then a corner was cut out of it. So now my cameras aren't faced upwards, otherwise we would definitely nail him on camera. Although where he was just at, he still might have gotten into the camera's range of view. Now he's back over above the hill, hanging about. Well, this is annoying. And like I said, they don't give it a freaking rest. Period. 24/7. You can't follow me as well because I'm shielding all my devices. There had been a tracker in my car. It's not there anymore. And I've also added a device to interfere with anything trying to track my vehicle. There's just no reason for it. And especially since these are a bunch of criminals, there's nothing legitimate going on or legitimate about anything that they're doing. So I ain't trying to make this mess easy for them. And the next time I run up on somebody on my property, I'm going to shoot their asses. I'm not playing with these people. I don't know what their end game is. I got no reason to think it's anything good, especially since they've been killing my animals and all the crap, setting fires on my property. Ain't no jury on the face of this earth going to think for 1 minute I'm here by myself as a female, having these men coming back and forth on my property, disturbing my peace constantly, destroying my property, killing my animals, that I'm not within my rights. Shoot first, ask questions later. If I can just wound somebody bad enough to where I can get the cops here, that's fine. But whatever needs to be done at the time will be done. I ain't gonna play with these people. Look at that. Can you scan any bigger? And there's some other things that have been left on the property. I need to go find out what these things are. My cameras were picking them up, but when I go out there to find them, I can't find them. So there's like some, I don't know, homing signal thing or something weird that's actually physically on my property that I'm going to remove and destroy. Invasive asses. Look at this bullshit. Look at how far they're surveilling this whole area and then trying to x-ray or scan every device and everything. The only thing they can scan is the phone that's in my hand right now, and they've already compromised the SIM card, so I don't give a crap. Everything else is shielded, so I'm not thinking about their asses. And in a minute, this is about to be shielded again, too. And with double authentication. My tongue ain't in the mood right now. Authentication on all the important accounts. And we're changing everything. I keep getting notifications where they keep trying to get in my accounts, but they haven't been able to get into anything else as of recently. And we're putting triple lockdowns on everything. And keys where you have to physically have the key. And fingerprint ID, and nobody's but mine, so they're not going to be able to get in and get access to anything else of mine ever again. And it's a damn shame I've got to spend the time and money and effort and software and all the crap that has taken numerous hours of my time to have to change my whole life because of these jackasses. Won't stay out of my stuff and a bunch of criminals. And this is law enforcement and our Navy. Behaving like a bunch of street thug criminals and a bunch of skinhead racists. It's just ridiculous. You know, somebody's got to go through all this to protect themselves from so-calledly the people who are supposed to be protecting your rights and protecting you in the first damn place. This is just damn ridiculous. Well, I hope you guys enjoy your Christmas Eve. I'm Jewish, and Hanukkah is over, and it's been over for about a week. And needless to say, these jackasses ruined it because I was having to do a ton of paperwork. The federal agencies ask a bazillion questions and want a bazillion documentation for everything. And so that took a lot of time and effort to find papers and dates and times, and there's still a ton of stuff I need to do for them. It's like having to write a thesis or a research paper because they need me to define what's me, what isn't me, with bank accounts. And we've had several bank accounts. We've changed them several times. We had to have our bank cards changed several times for not just our personal accounts, but our business accounts. Every 2 months, every 3 months, we were having unauthorized charges on our accounts and stuff since we've been here. So they want every account number, every card number, everything. And it's like, okay, that's a lot of information. Every detail, the value of every animal that was killed, the age of every animal that was killed, because how long the normal life expectancy would have been for that animal is relevant to the value of the animal. Being that they were breeders, males and females in pairs and sets, that's relevant too to the value of the loss, and just a lot of stuff. Everything that was destroyed and the cost of all the materials. Piles and piles of receipts. All the additional security equipment we had to buy and still buying and putting up to keep these people off the property and out of things. So it's like I'm writing an essay basically for each agency because each one has different questions and wants different information. And that's, I guess, a certain amount of it to an extent they're doing on their own. But anything that directly has anything to do with me, I've got to basically give them all these details, things that I hadn't given much thought to, or things that I have all the records for, but all that stuff isn't in order, and nothing around here is in order. This place is the messiest I've ever dealt with in my life. Just getting overwhelmed with too much needing to be done when you're having to keep rebuilding structures that were already built before the animals arrived, and now they're being torn down, and you got to find places to stick animals, and they're tearing up stuff because they're not in their right places and not properly contained. So they're doing more damage while you're trying to repair their areas, and dealing with weather and then health issues with me. It's been a lot to deal with. And then constantly on a daily basis having people trespassing on the property and tearing stuff up. And as fast as you get one area fixed or something together and functional, they're tearing up something else somewhere else. And before you can get that fixed, they're tearing up something somewhere else. So it's been a lot to deal with. And COVID didn't help matters any, because where I had 2 helpers, one of them actually got sick as hell with COVID and had to get up out of here because I'm dealing with lymphoma. You can't be near me. So she had to go. And then the guy, his parents got sick in another state. So he had to go and deal with his family. And I'm not mad at him. Just life happens. And so work that was split between a few people became all being done by one older person who's sick. So it's been a lot to deal with. And then the trailer that I'm in, it wasn't never meant to be for living purposes. It was pretty much gutted, and we were going to use it for an office space while we built on the property and did things. So having to turn it into functional living quarters, well, that's why you're living in it. It's more like a camping trip than anything else. A very long, extended camping trip. But I've been survival trained since I was a kid. It's not comfortable, but it's doable. But I got way too much crap in here. All the surveillance stuff and all the cameras that are still going up and all that stuff is piled in here because this is the safest place for it to be until I get it all put up. The weather hasn't been the most cooperative, especially right now that it's cold and we've been having back-to-back storms and a lot of flooding on the property, but that's always been the case. And that's a whole nother story, because while it's flooded, the areas that I need to dig out and do trenches and things in to keep the flooding down to a minimum, I have to work on immediately while the ground is soft enough. Otherwise, this clay is like cement. So far behind on so much. And then when you got people coming in and messing in your stuff and going through stuff and dumping out boxes and dumping out things, because I guess they're trying to find what they could steal or whatever the hell. That's a tremendous mess. Oh, and the wind. We won't even start with the winds. We get the highest, strongest winds you never imagined out here. It's just wide open plains. There's nothing to stop it or break it. So you get the full gale force and flipping things over, throwing things all around. If anything was in order, it won't be after a good windstorm. And as soon as you get everything picked up and put back where it belongs, they come again. And strapping things down and tying things down and anchoring things down so they'll stay in place. So it's a lot. One of the biggest problems I'm having right now is how destructive the animals are in areas that they don't belong in, because they're displaced from their normal homes, and then they're cranky and uncomfortable and fighting with each other when they normally get along just fine. And I'm cranky and tired because I'm tired of them fighting, and I'm working as fast as I can to get their pens rebuilt. The back 120 by 60 foot pen has been rebuilt. This is going to be the 8th rebuild. And it's not because it wasn't built properly or structurally sound. I've been doing this crap for 30 years. Are you kidding me? I know how to build pens, and I've never had any animals escape, and we've never had any issues. This is people. This is people driving trucks through it and destroying the wood and breaking the stuff in ways that wind can't do and nothing else can do. This is man-made problems. but problems nonetheless that have to be dealt with. And a part of me is like, what's the point in rebuilding it when a week from now it'll be torn down again until we can get this place better secured? And then since we're looking to relocate, it's like, why do anything at all? But I have to because the animals need it. And there's no trucks. There's nothing going to be coming in or out of this place of any size until everything dries up on this property. This property is going to be a lake until about March. I've always teasingly called it a lake because the water will be about 18 inches deep over the knee-high boots that I wear to get in and out of the gated area and everything. And after a point, my car won't even drive through there, even though it's four-wheel drive, because the water will be up to the door and we'll get inside the car and stuff like that. So this is our fourth winter, and it's a lot to deal with. And so keeping the animals dry, keeping enough straw for them, keeping them up off the wet ground, keeping trenches around the areas that they are so the water can run off and not pool where they are. That's going to be the main focus right now. And trying to get things packed up and ready to go and prepared to leave. Nah. Plus the whole family is going to be here to help with all that. And start making trips out to help do that kind of stuff. So right now I'm just trying to stay dry and warm is the biggest focus point. But and then stopping the initial continual destruction, and stopping them from continually killing and injuring the animals. I'm going to sell off as many of them as I can, but the dogs are staying. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to rotate between one of my brother's dogs and mine because his dogs are a lot more serious. And they're formally trained where if you tell them not to go in a certain area or not to leave the premises, they won't. Pyrenees like to wander. That's one of the things of their breeds. And so I have to be real careful about letting them off and letting them out in areas because they won't stay put. And they'll go over to the neighbors and threaten them in their own yards, which is an incident we just recently had happen, and things of that nature. So we're going to bring the big dogs in. We've got a few more Cane Corsos, and they ain't no joke. I mean, big boys. I could ride on their backs, big boys.